Well, I guess this week I'm going to be putting in a bit of foliage. Now, with this is the reference photo that I'm working from. There's nothing here, but the other angles, like coming from looking at it front on and from the side, looking back towards us, there's a big tree. It's sort of over here, just a big bushy tree. Well, I'm going to put some of that in here. So we're just going to use a little bit of artistic license, and I'm going to also, we're going to have a little sort of a hill going across here. It's at the back of the property. So I'm just going to, really we're still just working on the under drawing, although this is pretty much, well, the under drawing complete here, and the foliage and the bathtub and that, all there now is a matter of just going in and doing some detail. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a rough idea of some, some foliage. It's going to go like, it'll fit in this area here, and then we're going to have that grid line there. So all I'm doing here is just sort of putting in where things are going to go, and then there's a sort of a ridge going up here, and then over here we've got another little ridge there, and there's some posts, an old fence over here. So just going to work away at that. I'm going to take out these grid lines, we don't need them anymore. Brush away the crump. Now I'd just like to get a little bit of the inside here. We'll get that sort of finished off a bit. And it's just a matter of just going back over everything. Yeah, so it's coming along nicely. One thing that I love about doing these old places and that is how, for example, here, well, not this, but the big house, next to it, which we saw in the first episode, that was the post office and the telephone exchange, and it's always amazes me how we relied on these things so much. Well, when I say when I was growing up back in New Zealand, we lived way out in the country, out by the coast, in a little place called Homewood. And we were on what they called a party line. So our telephone system, I think there was about six houses that were tied into the same party line, just from memory. And so if you wanted to ring outside of the area where the 6 houses were connected to that particular party line, you gave it a continuous ring, and then the operator would answer and put you through to the number you wanted. But if you were just local, if you wanted to call Tom up the road, and his call might have been short, long, or it could have been long, short, whatever it was. It's like a Morse code type thing. And I remember me and my sister would be sitting there, because there wasn't a lot to do those days in the evenings. You could read a book or something. There wasn't much on TV, but anyway, only the news. As a 9-year-old kid, you're not interested in that. But we'd sit and listen, and it got to the stage where we'd pick it up, and as soon as you pick up the phone, people would say, "Working!" So you'd have to get off. But you got to the point where we knew who was ringing who, just by the way that they cranked that handle. Some people were a little bit shaky, and you knew, because you'd have to pick it up and hear the voices, but they didn't know it was you that was picking it up. Yeah. So it just amazes me how technology has changed, and that's only in a short period of time. Where's it going to go, like, in another 50 years? It's just, well, where is it? I can remember watching, what was that? Star Trek. Was it Star Trek? Beam me up, Scotty. And they had these little mobile type telephones. Where did they come up with that idea from? And of course now that's what we're using. It's just amazing. Put a few little leaves and a bit of foliage on that one. I think that's a lemon tree. Something like that. I know that would be a fruit tree. Yeah, so when is it going to end? Is it, or things just going to get even more out there? And of course, where the telephone exchanges here, well, we used to be, they played such a real important role in the community. I mean, we depended on it. I guess it's like how we depend on our mobile phones nowadays. I often wonder, how did we get on in the old days? Well, before smartphones and mobile phones. Yeah, use a lighter pencil there. It's always amazed me the way things work, technology, and even like, for example, they didn't have refrigerators. Well, they must have had refrigerators, but they got, like on this property and on a lot of property, you see those little sheds. That's where they used to store their milk and all their dairy products, their butter, and you think, how would that keep everything cool, hang their meat in there? But somehow it did. And I watch different things on YouTube, and in a lot of countries it still looks like the technology, well, everyone seems to have a mobile phone, but I don't know. Oh well, now I'm just looking at my monitor in front of me, just placing different things that are in this shed, because we can't see it really. It doesn't stand out that well. I've actually lightened the picture up so I could see a bit more of, and it's only a hint of things that you can see in here. Obviously it's just garden stuff, you know, buckets of this and that, and tins of that, and cans, just things that you'd have in your garden. Yeah, it's a beautiful property, this. And I think about, you know, like Dan, he spent so much time just working on the house, and now that the house is looking really good, really livable, and starting to set up his workshop, it's going to be beautiful when it's all finished. And you know, it's going to take a few years, but it's the beauty of youth, I guess, and half the battle. If you know what you're doing, where you're heading for, that just makes everything so much easier. Well, I guess it's about that time again. Time to me to zip it up. And once again, depending on what part of the world you're living in, grab a cup or a glass of your favourite drink, put your feet up, sit back and relax, and enjoy the music. And I'll see you in about, 10 minutes. happy where it's at, and I hope you are too. And I really do appreciate you watching for the whole video. It means a lot to me, and it's a big help to my little channel. And as I've said previously, as an artist, I do feel as though I have an obligation to capture these beautiful old dwellings and structures. And as we can see, a lot of them are on their last legs. They're well past their use-by date. So in reality, they're just going to be pulled down, or they fall over, or they're not going to last forever. They're made out of wood. Even though it's very, very, very hard wood, they still manage to wear out, or the termites get in there and eat them. But then you get people like me that love to collect little bits and pieces. You know, it could be an old gate, it might be just a rusty old hinge or something, you know. We've got them all around our garden. It's pretty popular these days. And one day I'd like to take you on a little tour around our garden, show you the different pieces that we've sort of collected on our travels. Anna and I, we live in an old working men's cottage. It's over 100 years old. It's just solid timber. Now, if you're new to my channel, and this is the first one you've watched, I'll leave a link up here so you can watch my vlog series from the beginning. And don't forget, if it's your first time here, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. I answer all my comments, and it costs nothing to subscribe. And I'd really love it if you share it with your friend. Well, that's about it for this week. So glad to have your company, and we'll see you in the next one.